Right, well, yesterday, as of recording this, we had a Nintendo Direct, and that was for the 13th of September 2018. And it all came very thick and fast, but I have to say, my personal take on it was that it was a bit of a mixed bag. I know I've seen some people saying that they thought it was the best Nintendo Direct ever and stuff like that, and it wasn't bad, but there were some things that kind of left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. And some of those things I've already covered before, so I will touch on them a bit here and explain why. But let's just get through it as fast as possible. First off, we had Luigi's Mansion 3, which is coming out in 2019 for the Switch. And then Nintendo sort of switched it up, if you like. And we had Shinya Takahashi come on and start talking about some 3DS games. Now, I actually thought that was quite good because it was nice to see that they're still supporting the 3DS. And I know different people have different views on this, but I actually think it's a good thing for people who have the 3DS, and we've got one in the house for my boy. It's nice that they're still supporting it. And we had Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, and that's coming in 2019 with some new features. We had Bowser Jr., in Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story and Bowser Jr.'s Journey, and they're coming on January the 11th, 2019. And then we got more on Luigi's Mansion, although this time it's actually a remaster of the earlier Luigi's Mansion, and that's going to have a two-player mode, which this kind of irritated me a bit because it's going to have a two-player mode if you have the game on both consoles, and you can have boss battles if just one person owns the game. And I looked at this and I thought, well, why not make the whole game available in this way? It seems to me that Nintendo are kind of doing that thing again where they don't want to let anyone have things for free, but they're kind of offering us a bone. So that irritated me a little bit. It's also going to get Amiibo, and it's coming on October the 12th, 2018. So this year. And then we got Yokai Watch Blasters. And that was the end of the stuff for the 3DS. But like I say, quite pleased about that. It's nice to see them supporting the older console. Some of us thought that they'd completely given up on it, but obviously not. Then Shinya Takahashi came on again and started talking about the Switch. And the first thing we got was Splatoon 2. And we're going to be getting version 4. I think some of you guys know my view on Splatoon 2. It's a great game, but I just don't think that they've gone about it in the right way. And the fact that it's not going to have cloud saves for Splatoon 2, and I'll get to cloud saves a bit more in a minute, it's a little bit annoying because you do want to be able to save those games and then go on to another console and use that game on another console. And you're not going to be able to. There's no way of backing up the saves for this game. And even if you bought another console and just want to log on and download your saves, you can't do that. You simply can't do that. So that was rather annoying. Then we had Mega Man 2. And that's going to have Amiibo support as well. Surprise, surprise. And that's coming on October the 2nd. A lot of people are going to be happy about that. There was some add-ons for Mario Tennis Aces. And I like Mario Tennis Aces. Played that with my boys, so that was quite cool. But I was a bit annoyed about that as well. Surprise, surprise. And these new characters that they're going to be offering can be acquired by playing online. And it's version 2, I think, it's an update, version 2, and it's coming on September 19th. You can only get these characters by playing online, though, and that means you're going to have the online service that they're offering. So this is a way of trying to shoehorn people into this online service. Even though, in my view, this online service is, well, a bit crap. Then we moved on to Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle, which includes 7 games. And it's going to have 4-player split screen as well. And that's coming on September the 18th. And I think it's only going to be in the eShop. I don't think we're getting a physical copy of that, but I might be wrong. It'd be nice if they had a physical copy. Those old Beat 'em Up games are fun. And it'd be nice to have a physical copy of those on a cartridge. Then we had Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which is coming on January the 11th next year. And a lot of people, again, are going to be happy about that. And those kind of games aren't really my thing, but hey, if you're into those games, great, good for you. Then we got Katamari Damacy re-roll, remaster, and it's going to have various things like gyro and HD rumble, and that's coming winter next year, so no specific date on that. And then Shinji Takahashi came on again, and he spoke about Nintendo Switch Online. And they started with the tagline, more games, more features, more fun. And I add to that, no new info, because there was nothing really new that we hadn't already heard. So the features, which, I've been through a few times before, but I'll just go over them quickly here. You can play online, so you've got online play. So in effect, they're taking a feature away, which we've had for over a year, and they're adding it back in, but you have to pay for it. Thanks, Nintendo. Then you're going to get some NES games. Why just NES games? For the life of me, I don't know. Why not SNES games, GameCube games, N64 games? I'm sure the Switch can handle them, or certainly up to N64, so why not those? But, this is Nintendo. What do you expect? And then the third feature we're getting is the ability to save to the cloud, save data cloud. And your games will be automatically backed up. Except for they glossed over the fact that not all games will be backed up. As I mentioned with Splatoon 2, Splatoon 2 is going to be one of those games that's not backed up. And I'm sure there will be, I know there are other games that won't be backed up. And I'm sure there'll be more games moving forward that won't be backed up as well. So that's a bit of a disappointment. They've not added anything in there that I thought they might, make it better, but they haven't. Nothing there. They mentioned the smartphone app again. That's the fourth feature. Yeah, okay. And that gives us, voice chat and all the rest of it, but it's a bit of a dog's breakfast, and you know my view on that. Then the fifth feature is special offers. People who subscribe to this service are going to get special offers, which we don't know anything about because Nintendo still haven't told us. This releases on September the 18th, and still we don't know exactly what we're going to get for it. And you can pay for a family plan, which is great, but if you have the family plan, you're not going to have crossplay like you can with the PlayStation or the Xbox. So if you have two consoles in your house and your kid's got one and you've got the other, you can buy a game digitally, and if they want to play it, they're going to have to buy that game as well. You can't even have two consoles yourself and just move between one and the other and just log on and then have your saves there. It's not going to work like that. You're going to have to unregister from one Switch and register to the new Switch because your account is still going to be tied to the console, which is such a backwards way of doing things. I don't even know where to start. But, this is Nintendo. What do you expect? But I was very disappointed with that. We're only, weeks away from this service being released, and still they're not really giving us any detail. And they're glossing over the things that are wrong with it. And there's quite a lot wrong with it. Once we covered that, though, Shinji Takahashi, sorry for butchering his name, came on again, and he talked about an NES Style Controller for NES games, which was a bit odd because it was a bit like the Joy-Cons. You can actually attach them to the side of the Switch itself and charge them from there. And then you can take them off and use them like an NES controller. And you're getting a left one and a right one, so I don't quite know how that works. Maybe it's just for the charging that it's left and right. They look more or less exactly the same when you're actually using them, which you would want. That's going to cost $59.99, which I think is a little bit steep for those kind of controllers. But hey, it's what you expect for these kind of things these days. Then we moved on and we got some information about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And I had to laugh because they were saying there's going to be this feature in it where you'll be able to use your Pokemon to get past bushes, which I thought was hilarious. Most games these days, you just walk through bushes. But hey, again, Nintendo. But, I think these are going to be fun games, so I'm not going to knock them too much. And obviously there's the Pokeball accessory that they spoke about briefly as well. And we're getting 2 new Switch bundles for Eevee and Pikachu. you know, if you are into these games and you want to get yourself a Switch, if you haven't already got one, or you want a second one, although why you would, given the limitations of the online service, I don't know. But hey, you know, I wanted to buy another one until I heard about this. But if you are interested in buying a new Switch and you like Pokemon, these bundles might be for you. I think they're a little bit dull looking, to be honest. That's my personal view, but I know other people like them, and it is a personal preference. It's, you know, it's down to personal taste at the end of the day. Then we heard about Diablo 3, which is coming on November the 2nd. Super Mario Party, which is, I think, 80 mini games, and that's coming on October the 5th. And I'm actually quite looking forward to that, because that'll be a fun one to play with family and friends at Christmas. And I'll have fun with my kid and my partner playing it whenever, really. So yeah, that was a bit of a highlight for me. I know, you know, a lot of people don't like mini games, but I think these will be fun. Then there was an RPG from Game Freak called Town, which looked okay, and that's coming sometime in 2019, but we're not sure when. And then City Skylines, which I'm quite excited about this, because I've been playing this a little bit lately on the Xbox with my boy, and he loves it. Unfortunately, there was no mention of crossplay or, you know, being able to use your save games from the Xbox on the Switch, which I think this game would be a perfect candidate for that. That would be wonderful if they did that, but no. It is getting some of the add-ons, though. It's getting After Dark and Snowfall, and that's out now. So if you're interested in that game, you can go and download it or buy it in the shops now if you're into the old way of doing things. Then there was another game that's coming 2019, which is Daemon X Machina. And that's another one that I'm quite excited about. That looks good. And I told my kid about that, and he got excited as well, because, you know, the idea of having mechs that you can knock stuff off and then use it with your own mech sounds a lot of fun to me. So yeah, that's one I'm looking forward to. Then we got Yoshi's Crafted World, which is coming spring 2019. Not really my sort of game, but again, that's another one that I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to. And then there was an announcement for tabletop gaming, and we're getting Carcassonne, Lord of the Rings game, Pandemic, Catan, and Munchkin by Asmodee, and they're tabletop game makers. Don't know much about this. I'm not really into tabletop games these days. I did dabble when I was a bit younger than I am now, but not really my thing. But if you're into tabletop gaming, this is definitely a plus point for the Switch. And you know, it's a nice thing to see them trying to try something different. So that, yeah, that's a plus point as well. Then on November the 16th, we're getting Civilization 6. And I think that one will probably be quite a good fit for the Switch. Those kind of games, I think, work quite well in a handheld. So you can take it with you and just play it a bit at a time. Then they moved on to talk about Starlink briefly, Battle for Atlas. And that's coming on October the 16th. Not sure what to make about that one yet, but it could be quite interesting. I think my little boy might be interested in it, but who knows? It does look interesting, so I'll keep my eye out for that one. But that one's also coming on the other consoles, so it's not exclusive to the Switch. Although Star Fox is going to be in it on the Switch version, so that's unique to the Switch. Then from there, we got some information about a couple of RPGs. We're getting The World Ends With You, and that's the final remix version. That's coming on October the 12th. And then Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna the Golden Country, September 21st and September 14th. I don't know anything about Xenoblade Chronicles. If you guys know anything about those games, let me know in the comments, and you can explain what these various bits about it are. So yeah, anyway, they're coming on September the 21st and September the 14th. I think if you already own the game, you get the add-on early or something. And then the free-to-play game Warframe, which I've heard people say good things about. I've not played it myself, but I've heard good things about that. That's coming on November the 20th. I do think there's a lot of microtransactions in it, but hey, you know, par for the course these days. I don't think it's got loot boxes, which is good. So I can give them a bit of a pass. It's a free-to-play game, and it has microtransactions, but not loot boxes. So that one's coming on the Switch, and I would imagine Jim Sterling's going to be really happy about that, because he's a big fan of that game, so I've heard. And then we're getting Just Dance 2019 on October the 23rd. Couldn't care less, really. FIFA 19 on September the 28th. Used to be a big fan of FIFA, but frankly probably couldn't care less about that one either. Team Sonic Racing, which is sometime in the winter. I'm not sure when in the winter, but that's fairly soon, obviously. And then NBA 2K19. Sorry. Can't stand that game, can't stand that publisher. I know 2K had another game earlier in this, but yeah, that's a loot fest, really. Full of loot boxes, trying to screw every penny out of users, so I'm not interested in that one. And then NBA 2K Playgrounds 2, and that's coming in autumn as well. Fall, as you US guys call it. And then we're getting Lego DC Super Villains on October the 16th. And if you're into the Lego games, you'll be happy about that one. I kind of can take them or leave them. And then we're getting a whole slew of Final Fantasy games. And I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can because I'm not a big Final Fantasy fan. I know a lot of people are. And it's, you know, it's a matter of taste again. Not really my thing. But we're getting Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered. And that's coming next year. We're getting Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, that is, HD. Whether that makes it a different version from the phones, I don't know. But anyway, Pocket Edition HD. And that's available now. And it's having a special price as an intro price, I think. Then we're getting Worlds of Final Fantasy Maxima. And that's coming November the 6th. And then Final Fantasy Fables, Chocobo's Mystery. Mystery Dungeon, I should say. And that's coming this winter. And then Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age, 2019. And also Final Fantasy 7, 9, 10 and 10X2 remasters coming in 2019. So there's, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, you got a lot of gameplay ahead of you and you should be extremely happy. Following on from that, we heard about a Super Smash hardware bundle. And again, I actually think that's a pretty dull design, given that Nintendo are known for their colourful games with, you know, lots of reds and yellows. And that's one of the attractions of the Nintendo platform, if you like, is the colour within their games. I think the bundles look really dull. And I thought the Super Smash one was particularly dull. And especially when they moved on to talk about the Joy-Cons, and you'll really want these Joy-Cons. And then they were sort of the normal grey Joy-Cons with a white sort of cross that goes across the two of them. Yeah, really not going to make me want to go out and buy it, frankly. I know some of you guys are going to be jumping up and down over this, but I don't get it personally. They're coming on November the 2nd. And we're also getting a GameCube adapter and a GameCube controller, which is also coming on November the 2nd. And the controller's going to be a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate themed edition. So that'd be nice for those who are into Super Smash Bros. Keep your eyes peeled for that one, because I honestly don't know whether it's going to be a limited edition or not. But yeah, you might find that it's selling out, because I'm sure a lot of people will be really keen on that one. And then Shinya Takahashi came on again and kind of wrapped everything up. And then said, stay tuned because we've got something else for you. And Isabelle from Animal Crossing is also now going to be in Super Smash Brothers, as far as I could tell from what they were saying. And then from there, we got Tom Nook, who's also from Animal Crossing. And I initially thought he was going to be in Super Smash as well. But no, actually, they moved on to talk about we're getting Welcome to Animal Crossing, which is coming 2019. I've never played the Animal Crossing game. Don't know really very much about it, but I have heard very good things about it. And you guys who are into Animal Crossing are probably, again, very, very happy. So yeah, as I say, it was a bit of a mixed bag. I thought some of the games were great. I think overall, they're offering a package of games which I think will appeal to a large number of people, ranging from, you know, massive, great JRPGs through to little, you know, curios and interesting little things, possibly that I might be more interested in, through to like sports games like the 2K games, which, yeah, well, you can keep those. But I thought software-wise, it looked pretty interesting and pretty good. Other than the stuff about Nintendo Online, which honestly I think is a dog's breakfast and a bit of a cash-in. But I've already made a whole video about that, so I'm not going to go into that now. Hardware-wise, with the bundles that they're releasing, that's going to be a matter of taste. Some of you guys are going to be all over those. Personally, I'm not. And if you're in the market for a second console, again, that's going to be problematic because you're not just able to move backwards and forwards between consoles. So it's not as good as just being able to go out and buy a PlayStation and just download your save games to the new console, or an Xbox. You can't do that. So yeah, that's problematic. And I know I keep going on about that, but I think people need to be aware of this if they're thinking of getting a second console, either for themselves or for their family, because you're not having crossplay either. So you're not going to be able to buy a second console and have your kid play those digital games that you've bought. You'd have to buy them again. And I think that's a bit cheap by Nintendo. But overall, it was it wasn't a bad presentation. I thought the games were good. The hardware was good if you're into those kind of bundles and you like those games that they're themed for. But Nintendo Online, they gave us nothing. Nothing. But anyway, that's me done. I've gone on for over 20 minutes now. I'm going to go and get a much needed cup of tea, and let me know in the comments what you think. And I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye.